Now, if you're an artist, a musician, like, you play the keyboard, you sing, you rap, you dance. If you're in the music space, the entertainment industry at all, my very special guest, Miss Krystle Delgado, she is an entertainment lawyer, and she's going to explain how copyright really works. My gosh, you guys are in for a treat. This is Music and Social, and my very special guest is Miss Krystle Delgado. The audio is a little spotty, but I hope that you can definitely learn some things from our special guest this week on Music and Social.
We got it. Hi there.
Miss Attorney Delgado, how are you?
I'm doing good. I love your setup. I love your vibe. Came in all feeling good. How you doing?
I appreciate that. I'm feeling so excited because this is going to be the first episode of my brand new podcast.
Okay.
What better way to kick this thing off with an actual attorney? I mean, you started your first business at 16 years old.
I decided that because my first actual job was working at a movie theater. And funny enough, I didn't know you had to be 16 in order to work at the time. And so I got the job when I was actually 15 and a half. So I worked for like a week. They found out I was 15 and a half. They fired me. So then after some time went by, I eventually turned 16, got the job again. But then I was like, you know what? I can make more money than this. And so I just went and started my own business.
So what age were you when you entered Miss Pageant?
I got into pageants, I think I was 18. Okay. And it came up because when I was going to school and college, I saw a flyer and I saw that if you competed in pageants, you could win scholarship money. And at the time, I was paying my way through school and I was like, oh yeah, I'll take scholarship money. And so I kind of started this path of competing and being able to use my musical talents to compete.
You are also a music artist. Being an attorney alone should be because you are pretty huge on YouTube. You got a huge following. Talk to me about the balance. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, look, when it comes to kind of what I do creatively, I go by Miss Krystle. And it's funny because Miss Krystle has now bled into what I do as far as products that I put out for artists to help them, with record label owners to help them. But specifically as it relates to just the music, my schedule, something I learned pretty quickly was when I went to law school, you've got to be vicious with your schedule. Not that you got to burn out and work, 21 hours every single day. You need to be mindful of what you're doing. It's how are you spending your time? And so what happened is that I became so much more respectful of my time and appreciative of if I only got in the studio for 2 hours and I had to get up at 4 a.m. to do that before I went to law school, before I took my tests and all of that, then I valued those 2 hours and I put in that time. And so it was kind of from that place of gratitude that I made it happen. What I tell a lot of my artists, I go, you have to kind of reframe your perspective on your career. You have to be willing to put in that time and that hustle and do it every day, day in and day out.
Like some people might say, well, you have 5 jobs, you have 10 jobs. How do you do it? But we all have the same 24 hours. So it's all about discipline and structure. Now, I want to talk to you about the importance of music copyright. A lot went down when it comes to music copyright, from Chris Brown to Drake, and everybody's being dragged. You
referred to on my show on Top Music Attorney YouTube, we do my own podcast and we cover a lot of news stories, what's going on. So we're talking about stuff with Drake and Chris Brown and a lot of these copyright issues that come up are people who are claiming, hey, you ripped off my song, you ripped off my riff, and now you have these major artists who are in these really lengthy litigation battles. So to your question, why does it matter? What do we need to do when it comes to copyright? Make sure you register with the Copyright Office. Now, I'm going to simplify it. If you Google copyright filing electronically, it will bring up the link that you need to the Copyright Office. You can file copyrights to your music, your lyrics, and it's very easy. It costs like $55. And so there's this intimidation factor that artists don't go and actually register their music. But what happens is if someone does come and steal your song and steal, your lyrics or whatever else you came up with, you got to now wait because the courts require you have that piece of paper that says you registered your copyright. So, the rule of thumb is just do it because you're going to save yourself a headache and it's a pro tip. Like every time you have a song, every time you have a release, part of your list is to go and make sure you register your music. Yeah, and I actually had this happen where a major record label was bringing a claim against one of my artists. Mm-hmm. And so when we said, hey, we can't find the copyright, this record label had not filed in the United States because they represented the other entity that was in a different country. So that was kind of one of those, well, now we had this waiting period. And so that's kind of what happens. When you have a lawsuit issue come up, you need to have the copyright registration because it's what's called a prerequisite to filing the lawsuit or defending in the lawsuit. But you can do it at any point. It's just if the Copyright Office is going to take 5, 6, 7 months to do it, you don't want to wait all that time, right?
Nobody.
Not having a copyright registration doesn't mean that you don't have copyright rights, though. You have copyright as soon as you make your song. As soon as you put pen to paper and write down your lyrics, you actually own those under copyright law. You got it. Yeah, but you got to do that extra pro tip of registering it with the Copyright Office.
I got a big question for you. What are the legalities when it comes to covering somebody else's song?
You own the thing that you made. Now, does someone else have any ownership rights in what you made? Well, if it's a cover song, the answer is yes. And it's because even though it's a new master, it's a new recording, no one's ever heard it before, it's based on someone else's composition. So because you're using someone else's chords and lyrics and melodies, that means you have to get, as you said, a mechanical license.
Attorney Krystle Delgado. Wow. That was mind-blowing. Like, seriously, that was so good. Like, if you really want to hear more, you should definitely follow her. Links are in the show notes. You can definitely go click on her channel, Top Music Attorney on YouTube. Man, she got like 4,000 or 5,000 people following her over there. Her Instagram is on fire. Got about 6,000 over there, man. She's really adding value in the community. And follow me as well on Instagram at Dean Reynolds Media. Links are in the show notes as well. Hey, follow me on YouTube, man. Dean Reynolds Media. I need you over there. Follow me on YouTube, Dean Reynolds Media, wherever you are. Shout out to iHeartRadio. Shout out to Ghana in India. Shout out to Apple. Shout out to Spotify. And shout out to Anchor and everybody else. This is Music and Social Podcast, produced by Dean Reynolds Media.